When I first pulled up to Willow Creek Estates in that beat-up U-Haul under the relentless Texas sun, I thought I'd hit the jackpot, a quiet little slice of suburbia where I could kick back, tinker in the garage, and maybe finally master barbecuing ribs without burning the house down. But man, was I wrong. Wrong. Behind those manicured lawns and friendly waves hid Susan Hargrove, the HOA queen bee, who turned my dream home into a battlefield, all because she couldn't stand the idea of anyone slipping her iron grip. It started small, like her newsletter's nitpicking mulch colors. But by the time she fined me for my grill smoke wafting too freely, I realized this wasn't just rules, it was her personal crusade to control every blade of grass, every light bulb, every breath we took in her little fiefdom. I was 35 then, fresh off a software gig that let me work from home. Willow Creek seemed perfect at first. Neat rows of houses with solar roofs, a cul-de-sac where kids played without a care, and neighbors who smiled like they meant it. I'd nod at folks like old Mr. Jenkins across the street, who'd tip his hat and mutter about the weather, or chat with Lisa next door about her tomato garden, feeling like I'd finally found a spot to put down roots after years of city chaos. The HOA was there, sure, but the realtor waved it off as just keeping things nice. So, I signed the papers without a blink. Big mistake. For a couple of years, it was tolerable. I'd trim my hedges when the passive-aggressive emails came, repaint the mailbox from that unapproved rusty red to stark white, even dim my porch lights because they were disturbing the evening tranquility. Harmless stuff, I told myself, like a quirky club fee for living in peace. But then Susan got elected president, and oh boy, did things shift. Her backstory, from what I pieced together from neighborhood whispers, was this deep-seated need for order. After her messy divorce, she was left clinging to power wherever she could grab it, turning the HOA into her therapy session at our expense. She ramped up the rules like a dictator mid-coup, trash cans out only from dawn to noon, holiday lights strictly cool white, no exceptions, and surprise inspections that felt more like raids. She even installed cameras at the entrances, calling it community safety. But I knew it was her way of spying, feeding her paranoia that someone, somewhere, might dare to plant a pink flamingo or park a bike sideways. Folks started whispering. The Martins down the block got slapped with fines for their kid's inflatable pool toy, and Ryan and Sophia, that young couple on the hill, nearly lost their minds over a non-compliant bird feeder. Susan thrived on it. Her emails dripped with that fake politeness, like, we all sacrifice for harmony. But underneath was this venom, born from her fear that any crack in the facade would unravel her control, her identity tied to this HOA throne she'd built. Me. I tried to stay low-key, engineering code by day, grilling ribs on weekends, savoring that smoky freedom on my patio, until the notice hit my door like a slap, $250 fine for an unauthorized open flame device visible from the street. I stared at it, heart sinking. My grill wasn't even gas, it was electric, quiet as a whisper. But to Susan, it was rebellion. I called her up, voice steady. Susan, come on. It's just a grill. I'm not torching the neighborhood. She shot back, all syrupy venom, Mr. Thompson, standards aren't suggestions. Consult the Fire Hazard Annex, page 17. I hung up, fuming, but kept quiet, paying the fine to avoid the drama, until the garage light fiasco. Another $350 ding for excessive nocturnal glow, claiming my motion sensor was ruining her precious ambience. That did it. I felt trapped, like I'd joined a cult without realizing, her rules choking the life out of what should have been my sanctuary. Digging through old papers late one night, coffee gone cold, I found it, a dusty 2005 easement clause in the title docs, a loophole from before the HOA swallowed the whole subdivision, letting me sell and exempt the buyer from their clutches entirely. It hit me like lightning, freedom, real and legal. I verified it with the county, paid for a lawyer's stamp, and suddenly I had an out, a way to flip the script on Susan's empire. Listing the house quietly through a no-nonsense attorney, I slipped in that ironclad clause, property exempt from HOA post-transfer under 2005 revision. No fanfare, no gossip, I wasn't giving her ammo. The buyer, Jordan, snapped it up quick. He was this rugged investor type, grinning over Zoom. Man, I just want land. No one bosses me around. Sign me up. We closed fast, but Susan sniffed it out, probably from some bored snitch or her endless title office calls. She showed up on my porch one evening, clipboard in hand, floral dress looking oddly menacing under the sunset. Alex, she said, smile tight as a drum, we need to chat about your exit review. Every sale requires HOA sign-off. I leaned on the doorframe, coffee mug steaming. Not this one, Susan. Here's the certified exemption, county sealed. Her eyes narrowed as she scanned it, face twitching, realization dawning that her power stopped cold at my property line, her control slipping like sand through fingers she'd clenched too tight. She didn't back down easy. Anonymous flyers hit mailboxes claiming I was under dispute for zoning fraud, scaring off nosy neighbors who called me up, voices laced with concern or spite. Susan says you're getting evicted. Truth. I fired back emails with proof, but she escalated, dropping a letter on my step, no assets leave without board clearance, violation risks liens. Absurd, like she owned my soul. Her motive? Pure ego, fearing my escape would inspire a mass exodus, crumbling the authority she'd wielded to mask her loneliness. I ignored it, hired movers, filmed everything, paranoid, yeah, but smart. 2 days out, she marched up while I sorted boxes, entourage in tow, arms crossed like a posse. You're breaching transfer codes, she barked. I shot back, calm but firm, you got no say here, Susan. This ends now. Her eyes blazed. Move one box, and I'll call the cops. HOA theft under Code 12B. Neighbors peeked out, tension thick as Texas humidity. I didn't flinch. Go ahead, make my day. Cops rolled up minutes later, 2 officers, badges glinting, looking annoyed at the Saturday circus. Susan went full theater, pointing wildly. Officers, he's stealing communal assets. Block that truck. The lead cop, Ramirez, sighed. Sir, your side. I handed over my packet, deeds, clause, sale docs. He flipped through, eyebrow raised at Susan's protests. This clause is outdated. We overrode it in 2018. Ramirez cut in, dry as dust, ma'am, your board ain't above county law. She fumed, stepping in front of the truck, shrieking, I won't allow it. This is my community. The movers chuckled nervously. Ramirez warned her once, then cuffed her for obstruction, her yells echoing about mayor's connections as they loaded her up. But she wasn't done. Slipped in my back door later, phone filming like a spy, narrating unauthorized fixtures, hidden violations. I confronted her, voice low and thunderous. Out now, or it's trespassing. She smirked, HOA rights trump yours, but bolted when I dialed 911 again. Cops returned, arrested her proper this time. Her pale face in the cruiser, muttering threats, was almost pitiful, if not for the bolt cutter she tried later, caught on a neighbor's cam, her desperation peaking as her world unraveled. That's when I lawyered up hard. Laura Benson, sharp as a tack, ex-prosecutor with a coffee addiction and zero patience for bullies. We filed complaints, triggering a state audit that blew the lid off hidden accounts where Susan pocketed fines, coerced sales blocks on families like the Martins and Ryan and Sophia, all to preserve her harmony facade, really her grip on power amid personal chaos. Emails surfaced, her own words damning, delay their paperwork, use code excuses if needed. We built a class action, media swarmed, board members jumped ship like rats. Judy, a reluctant insider turned whistleblower, voice shaky in court, she said, make them regret leaving. It was control, not community. The judge dissolved the HOA, fined Susan heavy, referred criminal charges, fraud, theft, the works. She sat there, stone-faced, but I saw the crack, her empire, dust. Watching her get served papers from my driveway, yelling about conspiracies against suburban values, while the server taped them up unmoved, that was cinematic gold, satisfaction pure as a cold beer after a long fight. I drove off to Colorado, grill strapped in the truck, new land waiting with no rules but mine. Etched a stone marker in the old yard before handing keys to Jordan, private property, no HOA, no trespassing, no Susan. He laughed. The neighborhood breathed free, cameras down, fines gone. But here's the thing that lingers, was Susan just a monster, or a product of a system that lets petty tyrants rule unchecked? Did I go too far dismantling it all, or was it justice overdue? Drop a comment below. What would you do if your neighbor turned dictator? Share your HOA horror stories. Let's chat about where community ends and control begins. Hit like if this hit home. Subscribe for more real talk tales. Thanks for listening.